The movie Killers of the Flower Moon will be released next Friday, and it tells the story of the real-life Osage murders known as the Reign of Terror.
And while that movie looks back on a terrible part of our history, News on 6's Tess Maune shows us how it will also showcase some lighter moments through the help of an Osage family's historic film from 100 years ago.
There's no sound, but the images tell the story.
It was fun times, I think, for them.
Clips of film, moments frozen in time from a century ago.
That's my grandfather right there.
They belong to Meg Standing Bear Jennings, giving a glimpse into her family's life in the 1920s and 30s.
The majority of the filming was by my grandmother, so I'm sure she's yelling out them orders. I'm sure she is.
Her grandmother, Mary, was the daughter of Osage Nation's longest-serving chief, Fred Lookout.
This is Chief Fred Lookout and his wife, Julia. That was my great-grandparents.
Their daughter, Mary, married Eugene Standing Bear, a Sioux from the Redbud Reservation who loved to fly planes.
He didn't own one, but yeah, he could fly, and he loved planes.
Together, Mary and Eugene welcomed George, the star of a lot of these clips, and Meg's dad.
She had him always dressed up to the nines.
The film shows what life was like in Osage County after oil made the Osage people some of the richest in the world.
They drove Cadillacs, Lincolns. She had a beautiful full brick home with the Italian tile on the front porch.
I'm watching these videos. Everyone seems to be happy. Life seemed good.
Well, I think life was good when they weren't in Pawhuska. They knew something was up. They knew people were dying, and so they spent a lot of time away from Oklahoma.
The Osage were being murdered for their money and land. The majority of the deaths were never investigated and too painful for many to talk about.
Osage is dying by the enemy. Do not let them die alone.
But next week, the whole world will know the story when the book-turned-movie Killers of the Flower Moon is released.
And I'm just glad that Martin Scorsese is, bringing this history to life, and yeah, we're proud to be a part of it.
Martin Scorsese, the director, used Meg's family film to help set the scene for inspiration and accuracy.
And so I told his assistant, sure, I'll be happy to let him have my film, but I have to hand it to him. I got to go on to the set. He took a few minutes to visit with me. Very nice man, very appreciative.
The movie will feature reenactments from the film.
The scene where there's a young couple sitting like a roadster, I guess. That's a reenactment.
But some moments were impossible to recreate.
He actually used some of my video. Some of the airplane scenes, they used the real film for that.
They're parts of her family's past, her tribe's history, and they're now more protected than ever before.
I don't even have my original films now. They're in New York. Mr. Scorsese has a foundation where he refurbishes and restores vintage films in a temperature-controlled environment.
And while Meg's films showcase happy scenes, the movie carries a heaviness that still weighs on those in Osage County.
Obviously, there's still families up there that their family member was a victim or their family participated. They may not talk about it, but you know they're still there. So
It's complicated.
it is complicated.
But even through the complexity, Meg says there's a story to tell. One that looks back on the past and puts the present into perspective.
People need to know that we're here and we're strong people.
And the Osage are here to stay. Tess Maune, Oklahoma's Own, News on 6.